Hey guys, my name's Trapixie and I'm not just a Tenno, I am a planeswalker. That's right, I have ascended. Fight me, comment section! On a more serious note, I've been a fan of Magic the Gathering for a long time, since Return to Ravnica for those who play and 2012 for those who don't. If there's one thing I've loved about Magic, it's the lore and story each set tells. Each set is different and has its own themes and philosophy. I remember for the first time I played Magic, my friend handed me a mono-white deck before I demanded something that dealt direct damage, and my friend at the time begrudgingly handed me a red and black deck. It was during one of those matches with that same deck that I saw my first Planeswalker card, Karn Liberated. I looked at the golem with a mild amount of curiosity. Is that a bad guy? My 13-year-old self asked my mentor at the time. No, he is our savior. I had my doubts as I proceeded to lose to Karn. Years later, I got back into Magic and looked for where Karn came from. New Phyrexia from Scars of Mirrodin block. After reading Magic's lore, I loved the themes associated with each set. I would like to look at the themes for Scars of Mirrodin. Let's start with the themes of Atonement in the block as a whole, followed by Absolute Power and Control, demonstrated by the Phyrexians. We begin Scars of Mirrodin with Karn returning home to Mirrodin, following Time Spiral, a plane of pure artifice to find that artificial beings from another plane had invaded. Phyrexians. Some time ago, Karn had acquired some Phyrexian oil, otherwise known as Ichor, without knowing, and began to trek it all over Mirrodin, corrupting it and making it into a place where the inhabitants of the plane could be turned into these monsters. Karn had initially refused, but Ichor over time corrupted his heart, and he took his place as the new father of machines. As Mirrodin was completed into New Phyrexia, we see horrible atrocities committed in the name of the father of machines. People are tortured, twisted into mortifying machine-organic hybrids, who only serve the Praetors, who in turn serve Karn. So, right off the bat here, there are some insane things to consider. Absolute power. We first need to look at where absolute power comes from. As a term, it means unlimited control over a situation with no mediation above or below able to stop the person in power. In use, we look to King Leopold II of Belgium, best known for his obtainment and fervent abuse of the Congo and its people, in the name of Belgium, of course. We've all heard the statement from Lord Action, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Well, in this case, there certainly is a show of that. We also see how guilt can keep people from acting. Guilt can be immobilizing for one reason or another. In Karn's case, guilt towards those he's killed, and we see it clearly. Once the Phyrexian influence begins to creep its way into Karn's mind, there is fairly little he can do to stop it, and from there we see Karn fall to the corruption. He is blinded by his misdeeds in the past, and is in a catatonic state, feeling immense guilt, which leads to Karn allowing horrible things to happen. We also see the fruits of absolute power by each of what the Praetors do in the name of perfection on the plane. Remember, Phyrexians see flesh as imperfect and unfit for life, so they exert a large amount of power and control on the people of Mirrodin in an effort to make them into beings such as themselves. Resistance groups sprout out and fight the power. But as some of Mirrodin's greatest heroes are turned into the things of nightmares by this absolute power, we see Karn have an epiphany. He sends for help to his friends on Dominaria. Venser, Elspeth, and Koth answer the call, and with the help of a being who has grown immune to Phyrexian oil, Malira finds Karn in the core of Mirrodin. They try to help, but they find his heart is completely corrupted by Ichor. In an attempt to ease Karn of his corruption, Venser sacrifices himself to free Karn. We then see Karn, liberated of his guilt, finding atonement and protecting life so that no harm may fall upon it. It is what happens next, where we see the absolute power at its finest point in the block, where Karn, Elspeth, and Koth fight against the Phyrexians and lose. We often see heroes come back from corruption, right before they are overtaken and take back the fight. But in this case, we have the exact opposite happen. Karn is forced to leave his creation and go back to Dominaria. Mirrodin is then put under the control of the Praetors as it becomes New Phyrexia. The themes and scars are not only shown in stories, but in cards themselves. Each of the Praetors exert a large amount of control over not just the field, but the players themselves. Jin Gataxias takes away people's minds, and hands for that matter, as you're forced to keep a total of 0 cards in hand. Vorinclex taps down people's mana and doubles the player who controls it. Urabrask slows down enemy creatures while his controllers only get faster. Sheoldred keeps opponents from having creatures by sacking them, while Elish Norn only allows the strong to survive in a weakened state, while those on her side are allowed to thrive. In the end, what is there to grasp from this? We learn from Scar's Block what happens when absolute power is given absolute control. Atrocities and horrible things happen if left too long unchecked. It can't be stopped. I'm reminded of Scars through the flavor text of Enslave. Phyrexia extended its command until there was nothing left to take. Thank you guys so much for watching, and may the Lotus watch over you. So, what'd you think? I really want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Tell me, do you think I should start covering Magic alongside Warframe? Please tell me. I really want to know. Bye, guys.